We need to talk about the developing story right now. That earlier on we told you that CS Rotich is expected at the DCI. What we understand is that he has been there since 5 a.m. He's being grilled in accordance in regards to the dam's controversy, of course, Arol and Kim Warrell.
Exactly, and why they signed off on the Italian company, which is supposedly broke, and why that had to go to them, as Sam has said. He's been there since around 5 a.m. DCI will be grilling him. 300 questions?
Yeah,
will be
questions
asked.
According to the papers. Now, Hassan Mugambi is there. Good morning, Hassan. What can you tell us about this grilling of the Cabinet Secretary at the DCI?
Well, good morning to you, to Sam. He is going on as we speak right now because he made his way here very reliably from sources within the investigation that he came here some minutes before 5 a.m. That is some minutes before 6 a.m. That is around 5:45. He was already making his way into the investigation room, and we are told that he has around 300 questions to answer regarding the role he played as far as the payment of the 21 billion to the CMC Ravenna is concerned. So we are just waiting here so that we can see how that exercise goes. He is said to have played a major role in as far as issuance of that money before the
due diligence was conducted, so to speak. So we are still waiting here so that we can see how that particular process goes, Sam, and we are also told that the investigation is going on, the grilling rather is going on, and he had requested through his lawyer Katwa Kigen so that the investigation room can be made available as early as 6 a.m. and yes, he actually made his way here before that particular time. So we are waiting outside the DCI right now so that we can just see how the whole exercise goes, and if and only if he is found with a case to answer, then he is among the people that have been have charges preferred against them. That is abuse of office charges as well as other graft charges in as far as the payment of the 21 billion is concerned. Remember, he released a statement saying that it was 20.5 billion shillings, and he actually went ahead and gave a breakdown of how that money how the payment of that money was conducted. Sam.
All right, thank you so much, Hassan Mugambi. Of course, we'll be linking up with you as soon as you're able to get more information in regards to that. But let me just bring you in on this. And so we see an investigation going on.
I wanted to make a point on the NIMS issue.
Okay, you will, but just before you do that, so you see this investigation going on, but there's still the confusion. The Deputy President saying that the amount in question is 7 billion shillings, the CS talking about 20 billion shillings, but we still don't see the dams on the ground. Will investigations lead us to the answers that you're looking for?
I think that's precisely what the DCI is onto, and I think really that's the more reason why the Deputy President shouldn't have waded into this. CS Rotich himself confirms that between the commitment fees, the insurance money that was given, in total we're talking about 20 or so billion Kenya shillings, not really 7. I think there are other issues also that arise here that may amount to abuse of office, why the CS authorized or rather made an intervention to have forest land degazetted for purposes of carrying out this dam, something that was completely out of his docket. So between all that and the money paper trail and how monies were being paid for services not conducted, nothing going on the ground, supply of things that are completely unrelated with the issue of the dam, I think there are big questions here that need to be answered.
Of course, 300 questions. 300
questions. Gladys Wanga, even as you comment on the issue for NIMS, perhaps I would love to hear your expectation on today's grilling on with the DCI. Do you expect it to be fruitful, given the fact that Honorable Murkomen, where these two dams are located within his county, said that the DCI is fighting political wars? What are you expecting from today's grilling, even as you comment on NIMS?
Okay, first I'll comment on NIMS, and I'd like to ask my brother, with due respect, Chris Omalo, when you say that there was no public participation on this bill, I think it is not true, because whenever a bill is committed to a committee, whether it is miscellaneous or whether it is a full bill, you have to conduct public participation on the parts of that bill that concern your committee. You must put it, first of all, the bill is put out there, then the committee must meet with relevant stakeholders on the matter. So public participation was indeed conducted. But then there is a full bill actually, right now, already has made its way to Parliament for the whole Huduma number issue. So I think if there are concerns around data protection and so on, it's upon us as members of Parliament to now come in and tie up any loose ends that exist through this bill, but also through other standalone bills, because there are still issues with data. Even our data that's with Safaricom. How do you find messages on your phone that's coming from people you don't know and you never gave your number? It's because maybe the service providers are giving our numbers to people to use for whatever purpose. That aside, let me speak to the issue of what my expectation is of today's. I think the investigation must be let to go on.
Okay.
The Deputy President coming in and saying we are only talking about 7 billion, and Murkomen and others coming to say DCI is playing politics. No, the DCI is doing its job. Actually, confidence hasn't been higher on a DCI or a DPP as it is currently with our current DCI and DPP. So I think they should be allowed. We should allow, we as politicians, including the Deputy President, who's also, a politician, must allow investigations to go on. We cannot speak from both sides of the mouth. We cannot say on this side that we really respect and have, support the DCI on this side. On the other side, say, do not exaggerate, do not say, I do not smoke bang. Who are these statements targeting really, politically speaking? Who is being targeted? I don't think it's the DCI or the DPP or Raila. I think these things are all targeted at the president, who is the one driving on the front seat, driving the war against corruption. Because if you say, oh, me, I don't do this, I don't smoke bang, I don't... Who are we talking about exactly here?
The people that are having this conversation, that are talking at each other, they belong to your party. What do you make of this, and where are we headed?
I think, first of all, we should try and persuade our leaders that we desist from making comments on issues that do not relate to your docket until such time as the person who is charged, in this case, which is the DCI, and the DPP, and the other institutions that are involved, the Auditor General and so on, have given us a full report. Then we will at least be interrogating from a position of knowledge. And I think also officially, because it's only fair to give them a chance. Because I think what has been happening to Kenya on the war on corruption, what happens is, we suddenly hear there's an investigation and so much has been lost. And then all somebody has to do is throw out a story, and we all start talking about that story. And if you look at, and that's what happens. I always say it's like, when a dog is barking, then what you do is throw a piece of meat on that corner, and they completely forget the person they were barking at, and they go that way. So I think what is happening is we are so easily distracted as a country that we forget the real war. So let's focus and tell ourselves our agenda here is to fight corruption. And I think it's something that Kenyans all agree on. Number two, let us give the DCI and the DPP the opportunity to do their work. And I'm hoping from today's questions, because I have questions too, and I think it's the same questions Kenyans have. Right. First of all, and the media, I can help you develop the story. First, we want to know what is on site in those dams. You should be able to give us pictures, dimensions, how many acres, and what's the going rate of land in that area. Number two, I want people to also, there is always a genesis of a project in government. Either it's coming from a cabinet memorandum or some other, or a policy paper and so on. When it does come out from that policy paper, there is now the policy on how it should be rolled out. Right. Then come in the designs. I was hoping in the newspaper trying to see if there were designs of the dam in there. When you have the designs of the dam, there is also the bill of quantities. How come nobody has given? And that's public knowledge. You should be able to access under the Right to Information Act. You should be able to be able to get those drawings. Also, in terms of, and once we look at that, it will also help Kenyans to understand where the problem lies. Because when we talk about that a company that was bankrupt was actually given the contract, then it tells us to say, as parliamentarians, I'm already telling myself we must amend the procurement law. But the procurement law just asks you to have a bank account, have a company registered in Kenya, and a few things. It does not really, we don't check a credit or your credit standing, or we don't ask that we need a reference from the CID in your country. You know the way we have a CID clearance, like good conduct from your country where you have to target it. So I think it's things like that the laws we should amend, but we also need to make sure that we give the public good information. So don't tell me what the DP said, and don't tell me what Rotich response was, or what Donald Kipkorir said, or what Murkomen said. Tell me what the story is. Because now we are starting to talk stories about what somebody else said. So we are being distracted.
Okay, all right. Now, Mheshimiwa Wamala, I'll give you less than a minute so that we can take another story on this.
Now, on this matter, DCI should do its work. It is the one under the Constitution that is responsible when it comes to matters of investigation. And as my colleague have said it, clearly when you look at Article 35 of the Constitution, right to information, we need to be told the breakdown. How much is the true amount? And it needs to be itemized. How much is for the insurance? How much is for the commitment? Kenyans need to be told. Kenyans need answers on this. And the issue is, in fact, it's not the issue of the procurement law. All these things are provided from the procurement law. Due diligence must be done. Before this contract was given, was any due diligence done? Because from the papers we are being told, the Nepalese government, you know, this issue of this company, it seems it has been doing things fraudulently. So whoever issued, was there any background search done? Was due diligence done? And what were the terms of payment? Because really we are told some money was paid and they've done nothing on the ground. So we need answers. And the CS in charge of Treasury, under Article 226 of the Constitution, which says, any public officer, if you've been used directly or indirectly, and government money has been lost, you are supposed to be surcharged. And as we finish, my brother, miscellaneous amendment are supposed to be insignificant. Something like NIMS should not have come through a miscellaneous amendment in the law.
Amendments are a collection of amendments.
No, miscellaneous are supposed to be insignificant. Minor amendments. So when it comes to an issue like NIMS, for heaven's sake, it raises a lot of questions. Why was it brought through miscellaneous amendment? It should have been a standalone statute. So we are smelling a rat. Yes.
The last time we had an issue in court about public participation in the tenders with the ABC, it was announced
and
that
for information,
I
brought a law of public participation. You know, there was no clear framework. Now we have a law on the floor of the House.
All right, now we have to take a short break.